The 1970s were the Wild West of television, and nowhere was that more obvious than game shows. The prizes were modest, the outfits were outrageous, and the boundaries? Well, they barely existed. Today, we're looking at 15 game shows in the 70s that would never ever make it to air today. At least not without trending on Twitter by commercial break. Whether it was sexism disguised as flirtation, questionable themes, or just jaw-droppingly bad judgment, these shows were products of their time, and their time is definitely up. So buckle up, because we're counting down to the number one most problematic show that somehow made it to television. Number 15, The Dating Game.
And welcome to The Dating Game. Here they are.
Bachelor number 2. Describe your ideal romantic evening. Sounds harmless until you realize Bachelor number 2 might be a serial killer. And we're not exaggerating. Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer, actually appeared on the show in 1978. The Bachelorette was so creeped out by him she refused the date, probably saving her own life. But even without the murderers, the show's format was problematic. Contestants regularly made sexually suggestive comments, and the questioning often veered into territory that would make modern audiences deeply uncomfortable. The whole premise relied on judging people based on their voices and innuendos, when your casting department's background checks are apparently optional. Number 14, Tic Tac Dough.
Tic Tac Dough! And now, here's our host.
Hosted by Wink Martindale, this seemed innocent enough. After all, it was just X's and O's with trivia questions, right? Wrong. The show was literally created to replace the scandal-ridden 21 after the quiz show Cheating Revelations. So NBC's brilliant solution was another quiz show with the exact same production company. The real kicker, they marketed it as completely honest while using some of the shadiest tactics in game show history, including planted questions and coach contestants. Today's audiences would have the receipts pulled faster than you can say center square, because nothing says trustworthy television like hiring the people who just got caught cheating. Number 13, High Rollers.
Could be your last High Roller.
Alex Trebek's fame before Jeopardy, dice rolling, and models and outfits had made Vegas showgirls look conservative. The gameplay was secondary to watching attractive women bend over dice tables while contestants ogled and host made innocent comments about their rolling technique. The show literally had a segment called Big Numbers, where female models would dramatically reveal oversized dice while wearing the tiniest outfits NBC's censors would allow. Modern HR departments would shut this down before the first commercial break. Apparently, math was a little more fun when it came with a side of objectification. So far, these shows are already pushing the boundaries, but trust me, the next few take things way past awkward. If you're enjoying the chaos, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Which of these do you remember watching, and would you admit to it now? Number 12, Rhyme and Reason.
And it's time for Rhyme and Reason.
Bob Eubanks hosted this train wreck where celebrities had to complete poems with rhyming words. Sounds educational, right? Wrong again. The show devolved into innuendo-filled poetry slams where C-list celebrities tried to out-crude each other for laughs. Here's a sample rhyme. Roses are red, violets are blue. Last night in my bedroom, Yeah, you can imagine where that went. The show basically turned family television into a PG-13 roast session where sexual innuendo was the only punchline. Because nothing says wholesome family entertainment like dirty limericks. Number 11, Treasure Hunt.
Grand prize on Treasure Hunt.
Chuck Barris strikes again. Female contestants were literally blindfolded and led around a stage while emotional music played, building suspense over whether they'd win a car or a stuffed animal. The psychological manipulation was the point because producers wanted tears, desperation, and raw emotion. Women would sob uncontrollably over losing out on prizes, while the male host and audience seemed to enjoy their distress. The show literally profited from emotional manipulation, and the blindfolding element added a creepy power dynamic that would trigger immediate boycotts today. Emotional torture disguised as entertainment. The 70s really were, well, different. Number 10, Wheel of Fortune.
Philadelphia Week on Wheel of Fortune. And now,
Before Pat and Vanna became America's sweethearts, the original Wheel had Chuck Woolery as host and Susan Stafford spinning letters. But here's what modern audiences would never tolerate. Contestants had to actually buy prizes with their winnings from a cramped onstage showroom filled with tacky merchandise. The real problem? The pricing was deliberately confusing and often unfair, with contestants pressured to make quick decisions about overpriced furniture and appliances. Women contestants were regularly patronized, with hosts explaining complicated prizes like cars and electronics as if they possibly couldn't understand. The show's treatment of female contestants as helpless shoppers wouldn't survive one Twitter thread today. I'd like to buy a vowel and maybe some basic respect while I'm at it. Number 9, The Joker's Wild.
New show, The Joker's Wild.
Jack Barry hosted this slot machine-themed trivia show that combined gambling imagery with uncomfortable stereotypes. Categories included Dumb Dora for questions supposedly too easy for men, and before and after segments that often relied on ethnic stereotypes for humor. The show's gambling theme was problematic enough, but the real issue was how it reinforced gender and racial stereotypes through its category system. Today's networks wouldn't touch content that literally labels questions as too stupid for men or relies on outdated cultural caricatures. Trivia plus gambling plus stereotypes equals a lawsuit waiting to happen. You still with me? Good, because we're entering the part of the list that had us doing double takes. These are the shows that somehow aired on primetime TV without anyone saying, hey, maybe don't. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, especially if you're a fan of watching retro TV crash into modern sensibilities. Number 8, Card Sharks.
can win the cash on Card Sharks.
Jim Perry asked survey questions that would make modern focus groups walk out. How many women would cheat on their husband for $1 million? What percentage of men lie about their salary on first dates? These weren't just innocent surveys. They were deliberately inflammatory questions designed to reinforce negative stereotypes. The show treated sexist assumptions as statistical facts, presenting misogynistic survey results as entertainment. Modern audiences would immediately call out the biased questioning and problematic framing of gender relations. Turning prejudice into playing cards. Stay classy, 70s television. Number 7, Let's Make a Deal.
Let's make a deal! And now, here's America's top trader, TV's big dealer.
Monty Hall's costume-clad contestants making deals sounds innocent until you realize how manipulative the format really was. The Zonk prizes weren't just disappointing, they were often deliberately cruel. Contestants who traveled cross-country and spent their savings on costumes would win live chickens or broken appliances. The show emotionally manipulated people's financial desperation, often featuring contestants who genuinely needed the money. Modern audiences would see the psychological manipulation and class exploitation that the original audience missed. So, would you trade your dignity for what's behind door number 3? Number 6, The Gong Show.
It's the Gong Show.
Chuck Barris created this fever dream that blurred the lines between talent show, game show, and softcore entertainment. Acts regularly featured scantily clad performers doing suggestive routines while celebrity judges made crude comments. The unknown comic wore a bag over his head, specifically to tell jokes too offensive for his real identity. The show pushed boundaries just to push them, with no regard for taste or appropriateness. Acts included strippers, offensive comedians, and performances that would trigger immediate FCC investigations today. When your show's main talent is finding ways to almost get canceled. Number 5, The Price is Right.
More contestants on The Price is Right. And now here is the star of The Price is Right.
Bob Barker's long-running classic has a dark side modern viewers can't ignore. The Barker's Beauties models were created as decorative objects, with their primary job being to look attractive while displaying prizes. The show's format reinforced the idea that women's value was purely ornamental. Barker himself faced multiple sexual harassment lawsuits of models, with accusations ranging from inappropriate comments to demanded sexual favors. The show's culture of objectification was so normalized that audiences didn't question it for decades. Come on down! Well, unless you're here for anything other than looking pretty, that is. Number 4, Three's a Crowd.
Three's a Crowd!
This Chuck Barris catastrophe lasted exactly 5 months before public outrage killed it. The tagline said everything. Who knows a man better, his wife or a secretary? The show literally celebrated workplace affairs and marital infidelity as entertainment. Contestants were asked intimate questions about their relationships while their spouses and mistresses sat nearby. The show explicitly promoted cheating as normal and funny, causing immediate backlash from religious groups, women's organizations, and anyone with basic decency. The show that made adultery into a game show and somehow got greenlit. Number 3, Match Game.
We play the star-studded big money match game. And now here's the star.
The panelists were often drunk. The questions were filled with sexual innuendos, and censors seemed to be on permanent vacation. While undeniably entertaining, the show thrived on adult humor that was barely disguised as family programming. Charles Nelson Riley and Paul Lynde regularly made jokes that pushed every boundary, while host Gene Rayburn encouraged the chaos. The show's success came from seeing how much they could get away with on network television, creating content that would immediately trigger content warnings today. When your game show's main attraction is watching celebrities get away with saying the unsayable. Number 2, Family Feud.
The Family Feud.
Richard Dawson kissed every female contestant on the mouth, from elderly grandmothers, young daughters, married women, everyone. This wasn't a quick peck. These were lingering kisses that made family members and audiences visibly uncomfortable. The show treated this as charming rather than inappropriate. The survey questions often reinforced stereotypes, and Dawson's hosting style included flirtatious comments that crossed professional boundaries. What was seen as charming in the 70s would be recognized as workplace harassment today. Survey says inappropriate physical contact was somehow acceptable. And at number 1, the Newlywed Game.
Here come the Newlyweds.
This show earns the top spot because it perfected the art of exploiting people's private lives for entertainment. Beyond the infamous sexual questions, the show deliberately created conflict between couples for ratings. Producers coached contestants to reveal embarrassing details, and the format was designed to cause marital problems. The in the butt moment became infamous not just for its shocking nature, but because it represented everything wrong with the show. Intimate details exposed for laughs, couples humiliated for entertainment, and private relationships turned into public spectacles. Modern audiences would immediately recognize this as exploitative reality TV at its worst. The show that proves some questions should never be asked on television. So there you have it. 15 game shows from the 70s that probably wouldn't survive a single pitch meeting in 2025. Whether it was the sexist tropes, inappropriate contents, or just poor taste in general, these shows were built for a world that didn't have Twitter, TikTok, or HR departments paying attention. Still, they were part of television history, And maybe that's what makes them fascinating. They're reminders of how much has changed and how much needed to. These shows captured an era when television pushed boundaries without considering consequences, when entertainment value trumped basic decency, and when audiences were hungry for content that broke social norms. If you made it this far, you're either brave, nostalgic, or both. Hit that like button, drop a comment below with your "I can't believe that was real" moment, and don't forget to subscribe. We have more 70s weirdness coming your way.